Now we will talk about Hong Sang-soo's recent films. Hong Sang-soo's new film Introduction 2021, not just a collection of 3 episodes, but a whole novel. A novel from which dozens of even hundreds of pages were torn out, leaving only fragments of several chapters. Hong Sang-soo gives the beginning from which the viewer derives his own whole story. And each part of the 3-chapter collection describes periods in the lives of the protagonist, namely Yeon-hoo, whose life changes dramatically when he meets a famous Korean actor. A meeting that we will not see, but which we will draw and imagine. Every Hong Sang-soo film is filled with an air of independence. Hong Sang-soo, who seems to have created this reality and given life to his heroes, step aside. In this film, half of the work lies on the shoulders of the viewer. In this context, the viewers feel like an artist, redrawing and adjusting the story from their own angle. At the same time, the intonation of the film will remain the same, because the key moments are unchanged, as if everything is predetermined. The director's film is in black and white, as if he is inviting the audience to color the entire plot as they wish. Under these conditions, the inexhaustibly wide view from the window looks like a special feast for the eyes, as if the heroes were placed on a sheet of A1 paper. Moreover, people in different origins settled there, the conservatives and innovators. Some wear ankle-length trousers, others are still stuck in a sleeveless jumper. And all these heroes, being timid and subtle by nature, in fact, as in any other picture of Hong Sang-soo, fill this world with some kinds of longing and unreasonably comprehensive nostalgia. Nostalgia, which turns all this unshakable reality into constancy, makes people full of ambition, hopeless creatures whose expectations either float away or again break in waves on the shore. Or maybe a new photo of a Korean is just a small dream, or a projected film within a film that Hong Sang-soo likes to portray. And perhaps this is the introduction somewhere in an empty cinema, from where all the smells have disappeared, and with them the people. And the heroine Kim Min-hee is watching all this with a dream and passion. Here again we are witnessing an illustration of a movie in a movie, again a sketch of a fantasy and a dream. The world of Hong Sang-soo is first of all the predominance of unpretentious and lively natures. They may allow themselves to fall asleep or run away suddenly, cry suddenly, and then stir with emotions. Like children, they sometimes amuse themselves with laughter for no reason. The predominance of sincerity in their bodies makes these characters a little happier, even in such a black and white world as presented in the introduction. Perhaps this is a story that nothing can be returned and saved, that everything is concluded and everything is lived. No matter how you fight the waves, no matter how you go against the wind, you will still be carried back. In this particular case, the heroes who left for Germany eventually returned to their native Korea. And return in this context is an inaccurate word, rather carry back. Thus, we come to another key theme. The hands of the clock cannot be strolled back. The past will remain only in memory, like misty black and white highlights. And as a result, nostalgia comes to a person, not just a feeling of longing, but rather a state comparable to something global and especially valuable for a person. With this feeling, he tortures himself from the inside. This is longing for old acquaintances, for native places, for the person you loved and continue to remember about him or her. Sometimes you just want to fall into an icy wave or cool off under a sharp and unsteady wind, but that will only make it colder. The inner feeling of some kind of abandonment somewhere far away will continue to live, and all these characters are connected by their filled with melancholy reality. The other film, the Novelist film 2022, is one latest film of Hong Sang-soo. At some point in the life of every creative person, sooner or later, there is a crisis of ideas. In the Hong Sang-soo's understanding, every inhabitant is a creator, and therefore everyone is at risk. And today it is impossible not to consider the novelist's film outside the context of external events. Today, every director, actor, and ordinary passerby is left alone with the thought what to do next, what to write about, how to shoot, is there any point in my work? The Novelist film is another piece of Hong Sang-soo's larger puzzle, where we meet a creative person again at a certain point in time. She is a famous writer, Lee Hyo-yeon. People she does not know very well note modestly in greeting. Relatives with sparking enthusiasm say words of gratitude for the books written by her. The writer herself, not immediately realizing, is included in the circle of people close and familiar to her. In just one day, she will meet a friend from a bookstore, a director, an actress, and the rest of the inhabitants of Black and White Seoul. All of this leads us to what we learn from her, that all her life she forced herself to write. And now she can also write a new book. A big barrier that breaks this wheel is pathos and hyperbolization, which, as she herself admits, have reached their limit in her works. The resistance drives her to the point where she resists drawing her characters into pretentious stories. As a result, she invites an actress, Kim Min-hee, to shoot a movie. Alertness and uncertainty visit everyone when he or she decides to set foot on someone else's territory. The writer, whose art is the word, turns her vision 360 degrees and decides to cultivate the art of the image. It would seem that Hong Sang-soo wanders around the topic of the relationship between literature and cinema, but he begins to talk about something else, once again proving that he devotes all his work to purely personal and not global problems. In the end, everyone is surprised when the heroine writer says that she wants to shoot something irrational, and the plot is not at all the dominant idea in her film work. Hong Sang-soo says with this film that everyone has the right to film. The main thing is that the film was based on personal impressions. And in modern cinema, this is less and less. Each film is based on a story with the formula: introduction, content base, and conclusion. Every film has a periodization of events and some relationships, a hierarchy of characters and how they work for the plot. This whole mechanical machine is capable of turning any creator and viewer into slaves. The first of which is obliged to overcome his or her own ideas, and the second must obediently follow the plot. Formalism melted the brain and became more than just a theory. It would seem that Hong Sang-soo's next film, where each character resembles someone from the author's past films, where the plots are completely similar to each other, but each of them gives its own, unlike other films, impressions. After each of his films, you understand how much you love two things in the world: cinema and life. And also the fact that a movie can be not only a work of fine art, but also what a book can be, something very personal. The images and colors of the film, as well as books, will always be stored in the reader's head in a single and unique form, and not in someone else, imposed by the author. That is the nature of Hong Sang-soo's films. This is what movies would look like if they were books. After looking at director Hong Sang-soo's recent films, let's draw some conclusions. We called the lecture Mathematical Impressionism of Hong Sang-soo. Now we can answer the question about the title of the lecture. The director's films are shot in Hong Sang-soo's words according to certain structures. They are always about the person, not the global. At the same time, the director skillfully uses sound and color in his films. He does this in such a way that the viewers not passively included in what is happening, but is an active participant in the process. The viewer himself or herself can complete the plot, the story, by including their own imagination, personal experience. Hong Sang-soo's films leave a strong aftertaste, focusing on the impressions, feelings, memories, and minds of those who watch and love the master's films. In this lecture, we considered creative style and cinematographic language of Hong Sang-soo. He tried to answer the question why it is possible to call his films as mathematical impressionism. I'll see you on the next time.